What's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome back to the Punk Rock Review Podcast. I'm fresh home from Los Angeles. Nitty's hanging out with me today. We're going to talk about two bands that I think are iconic in their own right, two albums that I think are incredibly important. We got the final album from the band 15. Oh shit, what was it called again? Not Lucky. That was the one I liked. Survivor. Lucky's the one that I knew of before this. Survivor's their final album. It came out in I think 2000 with Leatherface's Horsebox is the other album we're going to cover today. So we'll get to talking about those in just a minute. Man, I think I'm still jet lagged from this trip, dude. I didn't know that was like a thing like that. I didn't realize a 3 hour flight could jet lag you like that.
No, I mean,
I lost 2 hours coming home. I think going out, I didn't feel any different. Coming home, I got exhausted.
Yeah, it did that. I mean, honestly, like the spring, a couple weeks ago when we lost an hour or whatever, that shit got me for like a couple of days.
Yeah, dude. That in conjunction with this flying thing, it's just been a kick in the nuts, dude.
Yeah, and you were doing a lot out there. I mean, you were running around a lot. You didn't really get a lot of rest. You were on your feet a bunch and fucking just like overstimulated.
Yeah, dude. So, very much overstimulated. And like I'm grateful for the opportunities, but I definitely got very little sleep and did a lot of like walking. I didn't eat very well or much.
Right.
But I'll say it like this, dude. I got to see, like, witness just visually a couple things that I never thought I'd ever get to see, man. I got to go stick my feet in the fucking Pacific Ocean and stand on the beach. And that may not mean much to some people, but like for somebody from either like the Midwest or the South, like that's crazy, dude. Like,
it's cool. It's amazing.
And, I want to go out there again when it's not so cold and actually go get in the water. But I'm a little terrified of like things that live in the water.
You'll be all right. A lot of the sharks are up here anyway, so don't worry about it. Northern California.
I got jellyfish stings when I was a little kid, and I remember that very vividly. It was terribly painful.
In the Gulf, like the little,
I was little. That's all I really remember of it is that it was dirty, and I got jellyfish stung. Like, but dude, look, man, LA was awesome, dude. Everybody that I talked to there was super nice. Now I'm sure there's shithead dirtbags like there is everywhere.
Yeah.
But like as a general rule of thumb, like everybody that I talked to, especially within our community, was really cool, man. I ran into a lot of people that I never thought I'd ever talk to. It was like just hanging out back at this club, and then all of a sudden, boom, hanging out with Blank 77 singer, and he's just talking to me like it was just strange, man. Like, I got to hang out with Megan, which was cool. I got to meet Darren, John Doe. I met probably like 6 people from the channel.
That's
and then today, Rusty came by the shop.
Does he live in Texas?
I don't think so. I can't remember. I think he's from here, dude. I should know that. I can't remember, but I think they had family here, and I think they were coming from somewhere else or something. I don't know. I don't think he lives here anymore. I think maybe he's from here. I should know that, but I talked to so many damn people. But it was cool, man. It was really cool. And when he walked in, he was like rocking a Punk Rock Review shirt, and I was like,
no way.
I was like, oh dang, dude, it's like the first person I've ever seen wear one of those. I was like, that's rad.
That's badass, man.
And I know he'll probably see this, dude. So shout out to Rusty's wife, man. She was super nice. I really enjoyed that. A lot of times I'll get to meet somebody who's like potentially a friend or whatever.
Yeah.
And their significant other is either just completely uninterested, which is fine. They don't have to be interested, but it makes it kind of awkward. No, dude, she was real sweet, man. Hung out for a little while and checked out the shop. And it's pretty cool the way things are unfolding right now. I feel pretty grateful.
Yeah, it's amazing. A lot of great things happening for you right now.
Yes, I want to wait for that sink to get turned off.
My bad.
Sorry. No, it's all good. I'm not tripping. It did startle me. I was like, what? Yeah. It sounds like white noise. It's like, shh, but yeah, whatever. Anyways, yeah, dude, LA was crazy, man. The beach was beautiful. Right. I got 48 videos and 46 videos. No, it might be 48, whatever. Almost 50 videos and 108 gigabytes of footage.
You have a lot of material to put up.
Yeah, fortunately, most of it's live footage, so I'm just going to have to connect the videos to the right videos and then put a little intro, band name coming up on the screen thing, and then drop them. They don't have to be, but there is a little work to be done on each one, but it's not anything extravagant. But it's still a lot of just, it's the volume is high, but I'm excited to drop them all, man. The little vlog videos that I did do out there got good responses and stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It was a fun time, dude. I had a lot of fun out there. But
Oh,
next stop is Las Vegas, and then the Bay Area, then Boston. I'm gonna try to hit both of those places this year too.
yeah. The
Obviously, I
Bay
mean, just
Area.
just for like a day or two. But
I'm gonna try to find a good time. I mean, there's always great shows up here, but I mean, like if I want to make sure that you can come at a time when maybe there's like 2 or 3 shows different nights of the week that are going to be just awesome. Like
that would be
what's
dope.
coming out. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to hit Gilman for sure if I can.
Yeah.
I just want to be in the
No.
in the space, like just looking at it and just being like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah.
You know,
A lot of
stepping
history
on
there.
hollowed ground, kind of. You know.
Yeah. No. Totally. 100%. A lot of
Yeah.
history there. Place.
You ever go to LA?
Plenty of times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a record shop out there? Because those places are wild, dude. Their record shop is crazy.
I've been to headline. I mean, we've gone on tour to LA like 3 or 4 times.
Oh yeah, duh. Of course you have.
I got a bunch of family down there and friends that live down there. I'll be there later this month.
Nice.
In April. My band's gonna go play the Central Coast, which is just north of LA, like a couple hours. We're gonna play like San Luis Obispo, which is halfway between the Bay Area and LA.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's about like 3 hours away from here.
And I will say this before we start talking about this music stuff. I keep remembering things that I wanted to mention on the channel, and pertaining to Los Angeles. So I'll probably be talking about this for another 2 weeks. But dude, the prices of stuff, just stuff in general, is crazy out there, dude. Like I went and I got, first off, gas is like double the price.
LA's not cheap. Well, California's not cheap.
Yeah, I think some of it that I was hearing was that it was California more so than LA, but I don't know if that's true or not because I don't live out there. But the gas is like 80% higher, so it's like almost double. Yeah. But dude, like it's the small thing. Like the gas, I expected. I live in Houston. We're an oil town. I expect our gas to be pretty much cheaper than just about anybody in the U.S. Right?
Sure.
But like, I don't expect our like snack foods or our water, bottles of water or whatever to be like significantly lower in price. And like I went into a store and I wasn't even buying this stuff. I was buying a Diet Dr. Pepper, and I was just standing in line and I looked over and they had a little regular ass bag of Skittles and it was $4.99. And then I was in a Walgreens getting apparently when you're on the beach, you can step on these little tar balls. I didn't know about that. And it's like little bits of oil that wash up from an oil spill. It's like crude oil. It's like gritty oil and it sticks to you real bad. And I didn't know that. And I stepped in one and it got on my foot. It was whatever. It just was crude oil basically, but it was very sticky. And it like almost ruined my sandals. So I did some Googling and I found out that if you want to get that off of you real easy, any kind of oil works. And it was listing all these oils, but the very bottom it said, hell, even baby oil works. And I was like, oh, well, at least baby oil smells really good. I'll go get baby oil and do this. My point is that I went into Walgreens there, and a baby oil bottle that would cost $1.99 in Houston was $5.99.
Yeah.
And a bag of high chew candies that would be $2.89 here was $5.99. And I was just shocked. It was like, bro, how's anybody live there?
Well, that's how you have to upcharge. You have to mark up the prices and everything because the cost of rent is so much. And
but how do you afford to live there?
Hey.
That's great. I mean, I will say that
it depends on what you
wage is like 60% higher too. So like
that's the thing,
I think things are adjusted a little bit. It's just It's like shocking to me. It's like cheaper for you to be there and come to Houston to visit than it is for me to be here and go there to visit. You know.
But you got to remember something too. California's a big state. You were in Los Angeles. You were in a metro. If you go to like the middle of the fucking in nowhere in California, the sticks, which there's plenty of that shit. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Things are cheaper.
Okay. Yeah, because Houston's the same way. Houston's like the 5th largest city. Like we're very similar to LA because we're spread out the same way LA is.
It's sprawling. It's a big metropolis.
That's the one thing that is like
lots of freeways.
Familiar to me is when I go there, I'm like, oh, that's kind of like Houston. I gotta drive across town to do anything.
Yeah.
So it didn't really bother me. But I got to hang out with Dave and Perry for a little bit, which man, I freaking love those guys, dude. They're like the raddest dudes.
Yeah. Shout out. They made time to hang out with you and shit. That's cool.
Dude, they like really did. On Monday, they were like, hey, can we meet up for lunch? And I had to drive kind of far. So they were like, well, let us know. We'll make it happen. And I was like, well, if you guys can be there, I will drive. And they were like, well, then, yeah, let's go. And so we met up at this little cafe and had lunch and sat there for like over an hour, just hanging out, talking, having lunch, man. It was freaking rad.
Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, this record's out now and it's it'll be out on Monday technically, but it's I'm proud of it, man. They're proud of it. They should be.
The Before Dawn record, yeah, I can't
Yes,
wait to hear it.
sir. Yes, sir, man. It's a good record. All right, let's talk about the stuff that we came here to talk about. Enough jibber jabber about Los Angeles. People are probably like, "Shut up, bro."
No, you're excited. People are
I
excited.
came here to hear about stinky hippie punks. Fucking blah 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 blah
15?
blah. Yeah, dude. Let's talk about 15 first. All right.
Let's do it.
Because I took notes on this shit. Okay, Survivor is the final album from 15, released in the year 2000, October of that year, actually. It's 15 songs, and it's like an hour. Dude,
It's
this
long.
album, it is so stinking long, dude.
I know you'd love that.
Oh, my goodness, I was
That's your
so
favorite
excited.
thing.
I was so pumped. I was like, dude, thank God.
A long record. 6-minute songs.
Man, I was so stoked, dude. I literally sat there and
Yeah.
cried into my hands and masturbated.
It's my day.
I know, right? So, okay. I'm just going to read this stuff real fast because it's not going to take very long.
Sure.
This is what I wrote down while listening to the album. I was sitting down, listening to it, just kind of chilling. And I wrote, the song Survivor has some incredibly fucked up lyrics. The stories in the song are so incredibly dark. It is super long, too. It's kind of hard to get through. And then, like 5 minutes later, I wrote, what is this dude religious? Because like all the stuff he talks about in his first like half of the album, it caught me off guard. Vanessa is a pretty good song with a catchy hook. Landlord, he delivers such a horrible vocals in the first part of the song that I almost turned it off, but the lyrics are so insanely relatable. And I'll put like, are there any good landlords out there? Like I don't know, man. Like I don't know if there are. Punk song, it hits pretty hard, pointing out how silly yet in the same time important and needed that punk rock is. It's certainly not perfect, but I obviously love it quite a bit. And then I would put, geez, dude, absolutely awful singing. Like the tone definitely, it's like the tone deaf friend of yours that won't stop singing, and you're like, hey, man, you're not doing this very well. And they just insist on singing. That's how I felt like this was, man. And then every song is put together like it's 2 or 3 different songs. You notice that?
He's got a really unique way of putting a song together. But yeah, keep going.
I'm almost done because I want to get to where I can talk some positive. Because right now I just want to get this off my chest, and because I do have positive things to say. I put at some point some of the songs, they feel like they're a Chappelle show or SNL skit. Like they just feel like it's just a skit. Like the songs feel like what's that word? Satirical. They feel like they're making fun of something, but I don't think that they are. It just comes off that way because the singing is so bad. It just, anyways. And then I put prostitute ... Good grief ...
Yeah.
What the fuck ... Like it's just like, bro. And the last thing I put down was Lost Generation. What was that?
That's like the spoken word.
Yeah, what was that from?
I'm not sure exactly.
Okay. Anyways, so you're from the part of the world where they're from, correct?
I live in the city that I was born in.
That's what I thought. So explain to me the album Lucky. I do think I like quite a bit, but I as a young man, I wasn't a fan of this band, and I'll explain why in a minute. I want to know like what was with this band? Who are they? Where are they from? I picked them solely because there was an anniversary coming up, and it was an opportunity for me to learn something about them.
So 15 was formed from the ashes of Crimpshrine.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Jeff Ott was the vocalist in Crimpshrine. His vocal delivery was very different in that band. It was gruff. So in an effort to save his voice later, in fact, 15's first 2 records, he sings like he did in Crimpshrine.
Those are the ones that I gravitated towards.
The same vocal style. And then eventually later, he completely switched it up to save his vocals. Crimpshrine formed in 1986. Okay. They were a seminal part of the Bay Area, Lookout, East Bay punk kind of scene. They played with Operation Ivy a bunch. In fact, Jeff Ott, the singer of this band, his first band was formed in 1982 with Jesse Michaels of Operation Ivy.
Okay.
And Aaron Cometbus, who was the drummer of
Crimpshrine. Yeah. I know. Didn't he play with
he played with a bunch of bands, but
is he in Pinhead Gunpowder?
Yeah, he is in Pinhead Gunpowder. So it's a big family tree, everyone's kind of connected. Right. So sorry, I don't mean to be rude. It's okay.
Crimpshrine, I was pretty familiar with, and I had thought that this was the same dude. So I just wanted to put that out there. Like I'm not completely ignorant to the band, But I think when I got a hold of their music, because this is their last album. It came out in 2000. When I
Right.
heard about this band, it was after this album is already out,
Right.
and I just it's the same old thing, man. I just didn't get a hold of their older material, which it's the popular thing with me, I guess, is that I tend to like bands' older material. Dog's like,
He
fuck
stopped.
you, man.
I
15
don't know. He's
rules.
like 50 rules.
Yeah.
I'm
But
so sorry.
I think just
Well,
I'm stuck liking the older material from a lot of bands, and I just don't
yeah.
discover them that way. And it is what it is, man. I'm not tripping anymore. I don't
So
care.
this band, they have deep history. In fact, like there's been a revolving cast of members in this band. It's rumored that by the time this album came out, that there was 15 members of the band by the
Ooh.
end of the band. Like he had like a revolving kind of door of people going in and out between albums and this and that. Actually, Crimpshrine broke up in 1988 while on tour, and members of Screeching Weasel came out to California to finish the tour with Crimpshrine.
Dang.
So there's a connection between Screeching Weasel and Crimpshrine, particularly, and you can even hear in Screeching Weasel's earlier material a lot of influence from the East Bay sound. The old
Yeah, their early materials, I think it's fairly different than their like more
right,
like steady Ramones core type stuff. They have different parts of their career too.
right. So like early Screeching Weasel sounds a lot like that East Bay Lookout
Yes.
Records kind of late 80s stuff.
Isn't that weird how that happened?
Yeah, and I love that era of Screeching Weasel, honestly. I think it's
I
great.
kind of like all of it on it. I like
I'm a fan.
I mean, Ben Weasel's kind of a douche, but
these older guys do a lot of problematic shit. But and people do, as we can tell by the Gel Zulu fucking thing too. We can talk about that later. But so yeah, 15. They've kind of gone through different eras. So this band they formed in 1988. 15 after Crimpshrine broke up. So almost immediately after Crimpshrine broke up, they formed. I think they started putting out records in 1989, 1990. And we're just plugging away until 2000 when they finally broke up. Yeah.
Well, so let me explain just kind of like how because it's gonna sound like I got nothing but negative stuff to say when I'm gonna flip that around in just a minute. Basically, dude, I'm sorry, but the dishes in the background is so distracting.
Here, you know what? Let me just move.
Okay. When I was young and I got into or got a hold of, became aware of 15.
Mm-hmm.
I liked Crimpshrine all right, but I was a big Op Ivy fan, of course. But I was more into like Filth and Grimple, that kind of stuff. I was starting to get into Murder City Devils and American Steel.
Yeah.
These are the bands that I was listening to when I was shown 15. My friend Mike showed me 15. He's like, hey, you like these bands, you might dig 15.
Right.
And I'll be honest, dude, like the visuals, I've never how you said like, oh, the Mohawk stuff was never really my jam.
Yeah.
I was like the opposite. I looked at these guys and was like, they look like hippie, smelly, whatever.
They were.
I didn't like, yes. And I didn't like the font. I didn't like, there was a lot that I just didn't gravitate towards. Now,
I get it.
So I think when I listened to it, I already had kind of a negative opinion of it, which is stupid, right? But it is what it is. I will say this, specifically talking about this album, because they have a couple of albums that, in retrospect, I do like, and I've had them. I've owned them for a little while at this point, but overall, I wasn't necessarily a big fan of 15. I chose to listen to this because I wanted to see if my taste had changed even more. Because if you've noticed over the last 6, 7, 8 months, I've come around on a lot of stuff, or I've rediscovered stuff, or I've just discovered stuff. And so I was thinking, like, man, I should check this out. Now, there's a fair bit of this that I enjoyed. I really dislike his singing, though. Like when he sings, not when he yells. When he yells or whatever, it's fine. It sounds almost like Suicide Machine. It's like nasally. It's like this, like super, like high inflected, like nasally yell, right? Without it being no gravelly voice, but I like that. Okay, his singing though is hard for me to get past, and but the lyrics are so good. They're not even good. I think "good's" is the wrong word because that's so subjective. I think that they're necessary.
Yeah.
The lyrics are so bleak. They're just so dark and honest.
But there's also a tinge of optimism, though. All of his songs have a quality of like redemption to them too.
Sure.
Like this guy was abused and molested as a kid, and he left home when like 14. So he was on the street of like Oakland, California at 14 years old. He started his first band at 12. So a lot of his lyrics come from his experiences.
Oh, well, that's obvious.
And also like being on the street, and
That
if
hurt.
his subject matter quite often deals with like drug abuse, rape,
Right.
prostitution, really real heavy subject matter. Not a lot of bands touch that way.
That's true.
So I think the reason why 15 is so lauded as being an important band is because they went there in a lot of ways. And even though their songs are maybe 5 or 6 minutes long, they elaborate on some very important topics that are relatable for a lot of people and that people are afraid to talk about. And because it's just really traumatic and awful shit. So
I agree.
I think they're in that way, they're a very important band.
I will champion their importance, whether I like the music or not.
Sure.
I think that they are important, and I think that ultimately I'll end up with more of their records in my collection solely based on the lyrical content being incredibly important, because it's super clear when you're listening to this
Mm-hmm.
that it is coming from personal experience, and if it's not directly his experience, it's
Right.
somebody that he knew, because he uses names and he says things are just too specific for you to be guessing.
100%.
I've been in, unfortunately, I've been in a lot of the similar circumstances that he talks about in this album, or
It's
his music.
triggering.
His
Some of the
music,
shit, it's triggering. Some of
I,
these words, it's
I don't.
hard to listen to for some people.
I was gonna say I don't tend to get triggered like in general, but I can understand why somebody would hear this and have to just turn it off or go into like a deep depression. And I'm like, man, on one hand, I think this music is like, maybe you don't want to have it out there, but it's like, okay, yeah, but that's for some people. But for some people, they need to hear this. So it's one of those things where you just maybe want
Right.
to put a warning on it, like, hey,
I
if you
th-
listen to this, this could really mess your brain up for the day. So make sure you're ready for it.
I think, yeah, that's a good point. But I think that the way that he approaches the subject matter is in a very kind of sensitive way too. I mean, he has songs on
Not
this.
really. He's very blunt with his wording. He doesn't. There's
Right,
not
right,
sensitive.
right. But it's he approaches it from like an empathetic perspective. It's from like a
Sure, sure.
very like, I understand what this feels like. So
I agree with that.
so you're not alone. Like that's, I think, a big theme in a lot of their music is this whole like you're not alone thing. Like, I'm here with you, kid. He's talking to like that punk on the street that's been through some shit, or that sex worker that's like getting beat
Right.
up on by a pimp, or was raped as a kid. And it's, again, I can't even think of a lot of bands that even talk about this kind of stuff. But he also has songs on this album about his kids, babies being born.
Right. Yeah. We
And
have.
there's
Hey, just real quick. Let's watch how we talk, and let's not use the R word as much as we were going to, because this video will just straight up get turned off.
Oh,
Like,
okay. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
we had,
I didn't
no,
even realize that.
bro. It's pretty ridiculous that adults can't talk about adult things. It's stupid.
Yeah,
but-
I just
No.
from using the word.
I didn't even think about it until like I was just thinking about it all of a sudden. And I was like, oh crap, we gotta watch out, because I
That's
want
fair.
people to hear this, man. I want people to hear this,
Right.
and I think that this band is important to a lot of folks, especially from a certain age. Like they're, because they've been around in a long time,
Right.
So
right.
people like my age and older, they're gonna really relate to this band, and this band was really important to a lot of my friends.
Yeah.
So like, even though I wasn't listening to it a lot, I was around this music a lot, and so that's
Yeah.
why I was like, I need to dive back into 15. They've always been kind of like on the cusp of being a band I wanted to like explore more and maybe do a video on or something, because
Sure.
I don't have to like all their music to want to talk about them. I think that's super stupid when people say that to me. Like, I just because I don't like it a whole lot doesn't mean I don't get it or respect it. And
100%.
I feel like I do respect this music, because his lyrics are just, it's weird. They're so, they tell a story like you would tell a story to your friend. They don't sound like they should work, but they do, because it doesn't sound like he put much thought into them, which is, I would imagine, completely the opposite of what he actually did. I'm sure there's plenty of thought put into these, but the way he says it, like the structure of the sentences is my point. Like,
right.
it's like, hey Nitty, what's up, man? How you doing today? And that's a part of his song.
No poetry. It's just it's conversational.
That's what
in
it
a lot
is.
of ways.
No poetry. Thank you. I was trying to figure out how to put it into words.
It's
And
extremely conversational. Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think it's unique, and it catches me off guard a little bit. But
Yeah.
there's a lot to like about this band. So whether I like his singing or not, irrelevant, man. I think everybody should listen to this at least once.
The thing with 15 is also, if if the singing, his voice isn't for everybody, and even
No,
for me, sometimes it can be a lot. I'm like, does this song need to be 6 minutes?
no, it
Does
doesn't.
this
I can tell
does
you, it
this
really
song
doesn't.
need to be 5 minutes? But he adds a lot of verses. That's the thing. It's
Yes,
that
and they
he
get
just
redundant.
he just keeps saying things. You know, um, punk rock song. I love that song, even though it's like 3 minutes long. I think he makes really good points in that song,
I
kind of
thought that song was
regarding
great.
like what it actually means to be punk. And at the end of the song, he's like, to be in a band, you should stand for certain things. You should influence the next generation to be better people.
I don't know that that's an absolute. You don't have to do that to be in a band,
Sure,
punk band
that's
specifically. But
that's fair.
I do think it's good to do that. I do think it's good to be mindful, and I do think it's good to like at least at some point in your career, if you're going to be longer than a year or two, that to stand for something, have some kind of something that you champion. You don't have to necessarily get up there and talk about it on stage every single night, but do your part behind the scenes. That matters too. But
Absolutely,
some
yeah.
bands aren't
Political that way
for
necessarily.
every 15. We also need a no effects, if that makes any sense.
But even No Effects stands for stuff.
I know, I knew you were gonna say that, but like you get the point though. Like they talk a bunch of shit, they act silly and stuff like. So
Sure.
for every 15, we need a band like Catbite or Screeching Weasel or fuck, dude, even like MXPX, where it's just it's sometimes you just want to get out of that space. You don't want to be, you know, it's like you can listen to 15 and you can listen to the Unseen and you're like, man, I'm fucking depressed now. Thanks,
I
guys.
really, I really, I mean, I want to agree with you, but I'm kind of hard pressed to, because I feel like a lot of the music that we like and gravitate toward in general, or most bands, are saying something. They're not just saying nothing, right?
I'd never said any of these bands were saying nothing.
Oh,
No, that's not what I was saying at all. Like,
right,
no, I was not saying that they were saying nothing. I'm saying that what they are saying doesn't have to be the same kind of shit that 15 is saying, is my point.
right,
That not
right.
every band has to have this like deep political ideology with this movement that they're attached to. They're going to make this fucking enormous change, because what the change might be for you that's important, it might be Mike Herrera talking about this girl where you're just lonely as fuck and you can't get a, that might be as much help for your mental health as talking about a prostitute getting beat up by a man or her father or whatever, as for
Right.
somebody like in my position, right?
I
My
understand.
point was is that 15, like bands like this are necessary, but for every one of these bands, we also need a band that's going to do something else. Was my point. I don't think that every band needs to champion some crazy cause. I don't think every band needs to be political. I personally don't like hearing political songs most of the time because I just get fucking tired of it, man. All day, every day, I'm looking at this shit now. I'm just sick of it, man. I don't. Tell me a story about a junkie or something, man. Tell me a story about something else, dude. I'm tired of hearing about all this shit. Like landlords, yeah, I know landlords suck, man. I fucking have one, dude. They suck. Like, there's we're the 1%. They're the 99%. We're the 99%. They're the 1%.
Yeah.
Now, as far as money, but like in numbers, we're just it's class war. It always has. I get it, man. But like, I don't know, man. If I had to listen to songs that had this content all day, every day, I would stop listening to music.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you don't listen to 15 every day, right? I mean, you listen to it at the right time, or when you want to hear something like
Yeah,
this,
so that's
or when
my
you want to
point.
show someone what they're talking about, right? There's a
Yes.
time and a place for things, and
That's what I'm saying. So, like for every
yeah.
band like this, we need something that's a little more lighthearted. But these are necessary. That I think people are going to misunderstand what I'm saying. A band like this is absolutely necessary. I'm just
So,
saying, so are other bands.
well, one thing I want to bring it to Chicago real quick, and a couple of bands that
Chicago. Only
yeah,
one person in the world is going to know what that meant, and I hope you're watching this, P Nasty.
Chicago.
Chicago.
That's how they say it out there too, by the
Probably.
way. So the Broadway is heavily influenced by 15. You can hear it actually in the riffs and in a lot of their songwriting on that first record, Broken Star.
It's a good album.
They really borrowed a
I mean,
lot from
I
15's
really
early
like
stuff.
the Broadways quite a bit more. Actually, what I meant to say earlier that I forgot to say was that the only thing about 15 that I don't really care for is the singing and then the length of the songs. His like yell vocals are cool. The
Yeah.
guitar riffage, great. The production I thought was pretty solid, especially on this album, and everything. And the lyric, like I said, lyrical content's great. So like, it's very little. It's just stuff that really affects me a lot. Like the songs being super long, I can hardly get around that. And the vocals, I can't listen to them.
Right. I knew that would be
Sometimes.
I knew that would be a thing for you too. It's a quite for me. I kind of at times I can't listen to a ton of 15. I just can't do it. It was challenging for me to sit through this entire record because of how long it was, to be honest with you. And quite frankly, some of the songs are just go on like maybe 2 minutes too long when they could have ended a little bit earlier.
Half of them you talking about? Yeah.
But to their credit, I did enjoy this record. I thought it was good. I thought the intentionality that went behind writing the music was really good.
Yeah.
The subject matter, though heavy, was thought-provoking. And
well, it definitely had me like in a different headspace. Look, I know it may sound like I hated this record. I didn't. I just think it's funny that as soon as I listened to like the first 2 songs, I was like, oh yeah, I remember what I didn't care for about this band. But I was like, man, but I still like it more now than I used to. That's for sure. I definitely all this Husker Du and Jawbreaker, and I'm just saying like all this stuff that I didn't used to listen to. I've been like immersing myself in it, and it's really kind of opening my ears up to like other stuff. So like if nothing else, I'm glad to listen to Husker Du so that I can get to where I like 15 a little bit more and Jawbreaker a little bit more, because those are bands I didn't care for. I like 15 okay, but I didn't used to like Jawbreaker at all. And I think this band created a pretty important piece of artwork with this, and it definitely has like an interesting like time capsule feeling to it, because it feels like a 2000 album to me.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
The riffs do, the production does, the vocals kind of do, but the storytelling and the stuff that they mention, because they don't ever mention any technology stuff, and that's the thing of now. We don't do that back then. We never talked about technology back then. You don't hear anything about text messaging or social media of any kind or anything like that. It's just real life stuff. And yeah, man, I actually think I would give this album like a solid like 7.8 to an 8.0.
Wow.
Yeah, it was because like I said, like a subjective grade is probably like hovering around a 5.5, somewhere like average or just above. Mm-hmm. But like objectively, I think it's a really good album, and I think it's really important. And I think that people that are in a bad place hearing this record might help them. Some people it might trigger, but some people it might really help. I think it's therapeutic for me to hear this stuff. Like, you know, I was abused as a child, and hearing this stuff, you know, I don't want anybody else to have ever gone through that stuff, but sometimes it feels good to know I wasn't the only kid that was just terrorized as a child, you know?
Right. No. And he also mentions in the song, it's a big theme on this album is kind of like sewing your heart back together again. And
I mean, even the cover work has like that heart with the stitches and then the needle off to the left-hand side. I thought the cover art was really great. And what's up with Jawbreaker being on the cover? Is that like a jacket or something?
That's like someone's bag. Maybe
okay. I was like, I saw that. I was like, what an odd thing to put on the cover of your album.
Yeah. But it's a beautiful record for certain reasons. There's actually a song on the album called Gracie. And it's a really cute, sweet song about a baby, which I think is his baby.
And he talks about people that he loves in this album a couple times. Sorry, go ahead.
He's got a few kids. So
he had one of them real young, didn't he?
One of the songs is about how he had a baby at 15 years old, and you know, and which this young woman was born in 1985, so she's approaching 40 years old now, you know. So
that's so crazy.
Yeah, Jeff Ott, he's a nurse now somewhere around here.
His kid is only 2 years younger than me. That's wild. Look, dude, I want to just be real clear about something, man. I support this record existing. I think it needs to be out there. Just because I don't like the vocals on some of it doesn't matter. I'm still gonna buy a copy of this. I liked it enough to buy a copy. I feel like people aren't going to hear anything.
I can kind of hear your tune changing a little bit throughout the course of this conversation.
Well, no, because I just wanted to get all the negativity off my chest first, because I didn't want to have to harp on it. I just wanted to be like, okay, this is what I didn't like about it. Let's talk about the other stuff, because it was driving me nuts. Because I listened to it again today. I listened to it twice.
And I knew that the length of the album and his voice were going to be the two things for you that were.
Yeah, so like I can get over that though. Like I don't have to listen to all of it, and I don't have to listen to it all the time. So like, it's not a big deal, but I feel like people are going to only hear the negative. They're just going to tune out all the positive, because I've said a fair amount of positive stuff about this record.
If I can suggest to you really quickly before we end the 15 conversation.
Don't you dare.
I'm going to do it anyway. Check out their early material. Like their first couple of records in 70s.
Is Lucky an early one?
No. That's
No,
way later. Lucky
I
came out
have
right
that
before
one,
this.
and I like that album a lot.
Like Swain's first bike ride.
Oh, I have that at my store.
A Choice of a New Generation. That's
Okay.
when he's still gravelly voice saying, and
Maybe we can do one of those albums too.
it's more akin to Crimp Shrine and kind of like
Let's
the
see.
vein of punk. American Steel was really influenced by Crimp Shrine. You can kind of hear it in their early stuff.
I love
Um,
American Steel. You know how funny is it that like a band that is heavily influenced by a band I don't care for a lot could end up being one of my favorites, because it happened with Rancid and The Clash. It
Right.
happened with American
Correct.
Steel and the Broadways and 15. And
Yeah.
I don't understand that, man. And I guess I just like what I like, and people can just get upset by it.
Because there's these points that connect to each other, and it just kind of you go down the line, and then eventually you end up somewhere that you like, but you trace it back to an origin, which that's one of my hobbies. Is I kind of like to see where bands came from and what made them the way they are. That's how I found out about Husker Du and all the other shit.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I think that as I get older, I like this band a lot more. And when I was younger, I was real stubborn about it. But it is what it is, man. I think it deserves like a pretty high grade, like a good B plus. I think it's it very much warrants a good. Well, I don't know if a B plus would, but like a good 7.8 to an 8.0, which I think is a pretty high grade for an album that I don't like. Grab and put on all the time. Like I think 8.0 is just Lagwagon albums aren't even an 8.0, and I enjoy those quite a bit. So
I don't know like how often I can listen to a record like this. Like,
it's hard. It's a heavy album.
It's just the subject matter. I don't always want to sit through this kind of a record, so it's a lot to handle.
Nor should you do that all the time. This is therapy, not daily listening. This is a therapeutic album.
That's a good point, actually. So I would probably give this album a 7.5 too. I think that it's a good record.
Yeah. Dude, hey, look, the way I grade records, 7.5 and up is fantastic, because 5 is average. So if you're halfway between average and perfect, I think you're doing a great job. So that's how I look at things. Okay, 7.5 is like where I start going, okay, it's a good album. Anything above that is like, man, it's real good. Like, even Rancid albums, some of them I don't put them at a 10. It's my favorite band. I mean, so I think 15 is a band that, like, there's a lot of things I love attached to 15. So for that reason, I wanted to learn more about them. I'm glad I'm listening to them. If you have information on this band you want me to know, please leave it in the comments. I'm trying to do things the right way here in this channel and with these videos, and I think I've done a lot. A lot of folks don't like it, and some people don't listen enough to understand what I'm doing, and that's okay too, man. You don't have to. Give me the thumbs down. Tell me I'm a dumbass in the comments. I don't give a shit.
Does it show the thumbs down? I think it just shows the thumbs ups. It doesn't show the thumbs downs.
I don't know. I get to see the thumbs downs.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah.
I never see thumbs downs. I just see thumbs ups.
No, I get to see them because YouTube wants me to know how much I'm disliked.
Interesting. That's good for the mental health.
Super weird, man. Super weird. All right.
We can cross 15 off the list for tonight.
Yes, sir. Okay. Give me just 1 second.
Oh, by the way, Jeff Ott from 15 is actually in a new band, Dollar Store, and they played like last week or something.
No kidding.
I ran into their drummer at my practice space.
Nice.
And the band has like a saxophone. It's like weird. It's vaguely punk from what I heard. It's like funky, like rock. It's like it's on some weird hippie shit. I don't know.
Why does that make me laugh? It definitely does, though.
I mean, they could be trolling me too, because I found a song of theirs on Bandcamp I was looking for, and it's called "This Is Not Our Song, Don't Buy It." And then I played the track, and it's an instrumental song with like a saxophone and like a.
That's so weird.
I don't know if I was being trolled. I don't know if it's an actual song or what. So if you know about Dollar Store, let me know. Because I'm really fucking confused. I don't know what they sound like. There's nothing.
I'm not even confused. I'm happy that exists like that.
It's kind of funny,
It is.
If he actually is trolling.
All right, you ready?
I'm fucking ready. By the way, that band that I texted you about earlier, the Ratchets.
Mm-hmm.
Man, they're fucking good. I didn't even realize. Like,
I remember liking them actually. After we started talking about it, I was like, "Oh yeah, I used to like that band."
No, but they put a record out on that label that presses all the vinyl.
Pirates Press.
Pirates Press, yeah.
Oh recently. Yeah, Pirates Press is the shit, man.
I didn't know they
All
were a
right.
label too, but anyway, we can
Yeah,
talk
they're
about
labeling like a distro store. They make records for other people. It's crazy.
it. Legit band, good stuff.
All right, so sometime in the year 2000, we get Leatherface's, I think, like 7th studio album called Horsebox.
Yeah.
I think Horsebox and Cherry Knoll were the first 2 Leatherface albums that I owned, and I got them at a used record store in Austin. And I think I played Horsebox first, and I liked it okay. And then I went back and I played Cherry Knoll, and I didn't like it, at least back then.
Yeah.
And for a lot of years, I didn't really go back to Leatherface. I had a shirt. I had a couple of their albums. I talked about them. I don't think I ever got to see them play or anything like that, but my friends all liked them a lot. And I just kind of was like, yeah, they're okay. And then, like, right before I started doing the channel, maybe it was like 3-4 years ago, like, I suddenly got really big into them. And then whenever I found out you liked them, I was like really psyched when I was like, oh, this is like one of your favorites. I was like, hell yeah, nobody I know likes Leatherface anymore. Like, I'm just not around the same people, you know? And this is just one of those bands that when it came back around, I am obsessed with this band. I listen to them all the time. Now, I don't know as much as you do. I don't know song titles and stuff like that, but I've got like 6 or 7 of their records.
Yeah.
I listen to them all the time, dude. The one with the mushrooms on it is the one that I don't have, or I do now, but I haven't put a lot of time into it yet. So I'm going to be listening to that one over the next couple of weeks. But Horsebox is a very interesting album, man. What do you know about this record?
Wow. Well, we're talking about my favorite band now. So
let's go. Let's go.
I still have yet to get through that book, by the way. The Chris
I haven't
McConnell
either.
one. I've
I'm like barely even going in it. I need you know what? I need to prioritize that.
Same. Let's just get through the book. That way we'll have more to talk about.
Yes.
Too with the band. Yeah, Days and Days. The guy from Fucked Up is the guy that wrote the book.
Isn't that cool? When I found that out, I was like shocked. And I was like, heck yeah, dude.
So Horsebox. It came out in 2000. So just to give just a very brief history of Leatherface. Leatherface was formed in 1988. The same year as actually 15.
Isn't that weird?
In the UK. Well, yeah, it's just kind of coincidental. In the UK, by Newcastle, in a town called Sunderland, like in northern England, like almost to Scotland.
That's crazy.
And they formed in '88. Put out Cherry Knoll. They're described as like a mix between Motorhead and Husker Du. A lot. That's the like going kind of dialogue about how people talk about them. Yeah, that's a common comparison that people make.
You know, dude, I don't even know that that's weird or wrong.
I'd
never even considered that, but that made a lot of sense when you said that.
They're their own thing. Leatherface is a power.
That's how I would put it.
They're a powerhouse of a fucking band. They have an energy about them that no one can touch, in my opinion, or has to this day. Mush is a perfect record. Like
that's the one with the mushrooms.
With the mushrooms on it. Yeah, it's just the like seething, visceral quality of that record is like fucking art in its purest form. And they're a band that's got a lot of mystique surrounding them too. They didn't really do a lot of interviews. They weren't about the fame and the publicity at all.
I know that.
They were. You try to find information about them online. You don't find much. Nothing.
Dude.
Frankie Stubbs doesn't talk much about anything.
Well, that's why I was reading this book, is because I don't know much about them and I couldn't find much info on them. And it's just one of these things. Like, I think that the fact that they don't have a lot of info makes me want to know more.
Right.
It's a really good PR move without having to do much, because you don't have to worry about putting your foot in your mouth because you're not doing any talking. And
I just think they did it because they love to write albums and play music. That is pure,
incredibly obvious. Well, no, I'm saying like no. I mean, like I'm agreeing. I'm saying like that's obvious by their work that they just did it for that reason. Like that sounded really stupid, didn't it?
No, it's okay.
That's obvious.
No, it's okay. Like it is also very obvious. Yeah,
but like
that's kind of a big reason why you can't find much with them online. You know, they never were one for the publicity or the festivals. Really, they never really toured outside of Europe.
Right. Their reasoning behind doing the things that they did was different than somebody else, maybe, you know. And it's not a good or a bad thing. It's just is what it is.
It is what it is.
I don't care if you make music to be famous, as long as you're still doing it like for you. Like, you know, as long as you don't change, do what you're doing, man. But like, I don't know. Maybe I do mind that actually. It's kind of stupid to
They
make
denied
music.
the Warped Tour a bunch of times too. They're like, "Yeah, this isn't for us. We're not going to do the fucking Warped Tour."
While I wish they had played the Warped Tour, because I probably could have seen them if they had. I totally understand why they wouldn't.
Me too.
This band does not feel like a Warped Tour band.
No, I don't think they felt like they'd fit in with that whole thing, and they just were kind of true to themselves.
Good
But
for them.
no, good for them. But again, this band kind of has like a mystique surrounding them. So they broke up in 1993, 94.
Okay.
And they lost their guitar player, who came back on their final record, Dickie Hammond.
Okay.
Dickie Hammond passed away a few years ago. And,
yeah, I knew that.
In fact, everyone in the band is pretty much dead except Frankie at this point. But
oh man, I always thought he was the first one to win.
No, Frankie's the front man. He's still alive.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's chilling.
Cool, good for him, man.
But everyone that played on Much is dead, except Frankie.
That sucks.
Yeah, it does. The guitar player that quit was also in the Angelic Upstarts for a while too.
Oh no shit! Huh?
Yeah. Dickie Hammond played in Angelic Upstarts.
Oh yeah, I knew that name. That's why you said that name, and I was like, "That's a familiar name."
Yeah, he's
Angelic Upstarts.
Great guitar player, fucking great guitar player. So, Leatherface broke up in 1993. They had recorded an album that came out in 1994 called The Last, that was released after the fact, and they broke up. And then Frankie Stubbs was in a couple of side projects, did some solo stuff by himself. One of his side projects was called Jesse. Jesse was named after Elvis's stillborn little brother.
Oh,
I guess he had a stillborn brother named Jesse.
Like Elvis Presley?
Elvis Presley, correct.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Frankie had this weird kind of fascination with Elvis for whatever reason.
Huh.
He covers some of his music acoustically.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, Jesse, I'm getting to Horsebox, by the way. There's a whole, like, kind of...
Yeah, no, I'm learning here. That's cool.
So, Jesse, in 1997, was Frankie, this guy, Leighton Evans, Evo, who played guitar on Horsebox, right? So, by the time 1998, 99 came around, Hot Water Music, who fucking loved Leatherface, they didn't even exist anymore. Leatherface was pretty much done, and Frankie was just chilling in the UK doing his little side gigs or whatever with his bands, recording bands, because he was an engineer too, like a producer. Hot Water Music wanted him to come to the States. At the time, they were on that label, Youth Brigade's label.
BYO?
Yeah, BYO Records, correct.
Yeah.
And Hot Water's like, dude, come over here. We'll tour with you. We'll take you all over the fucking place. Just come over here. We'll get you on the label, BYO. Frankie then came over, and he talked to the Sean Stern from the label BYO Records, and they agreed to do a split with Hot Water Music in 1999. That predated Horsebox, and that's the Hot Water Music split with them.
Yeah, BYO Split Series Volume 3 or 4 or something.
That was the first one.
That was the first one.
Hot Water Music and
which one was the third one? Is that the One Man Army?
Alkaline Trio, One Man Army, I think.
Okay, that's why I know that one so well.
So then they agreed to do these weird split series to.
Oh, I love them, dude.
So they can only write like a handful of songs and then get out there, and then that's kind of what got Leatherface back in the door in the U.S. to get them on tour with Hot Water, and then Hot Water and Leatherface did extensive touring all over the U.S. in Canada and shit like that. So they were here for like a couple of months, I think. Yeah. And during that time period, and then they recorded Horsebox as a 3-piece. All right, man, this is the fucking reality of my life. Animals. Hopefully you can't hear that dog barking now.
Oh no, I can definitely hear the dog barking, but whatever.
It is what it is, kind of thing. I mean, that's as far away as I can get from the fucking dog. I don't know what she's barking at, and I can't shut her up. So,
Jesus, dude, that's so loud. Yeah, what is she barking at?
I don't know, dude. She probably saw a fucking skunk or a fucking cat, and she's just losing her shit.
She's racist, bro.
She's like, fucking skunks. Skunks are black. I'm white.
Okay, hold on.
I'm fucking sorry, man. Today's
it's all good, dude. It's all good. I'm trying to keep up with it. Maybe I'll be able to edit it out. Maybe I won't. I don't really give a shit if I'm honest.
No, dude, I would prefer if you edited it. If you can,
Well, I'll edit some of it out, but dude, it's a pain in the ass to do that. I got so much on my plate, dude. Editing these videos like that is like it ain't worth doing all that because most people don't make it past 10 minutes anyways. there's a good chunk of people that do, and for those people that do watch it past 10 minutes, I can't explain. Well, I can't explain
If
you
you
how.
made it this far,
Well, no,
I
like
appreciate you.
I can't explain how grateful I am for that because that's awesome, man.
Yeah, like
Like
if
I
you,
like long form videos, but when I pick a video, I typically watch all of it. But I know a lot of people don't.
well, the thing is that you have to actually you have to really be into what we're talking about to watch
Yeah,
this.
correct.
You know, if you really want to hear about Leatherface and 15, then you came to the right place tonight, motherfucker.
Right.
Anyway, keep going.
So with Leatherface, I got about 10 or 15 more minutes. I told my wife I'd be done with it around 10:30. So
That's fine.
let's talk real quick about the production of these albums, or this album specifically. Like, it's a thing where his voice is always buried in the mix. I think that's like a style he really liked a lot. Is that something that he kind of came up with, or was that popular with somebody else before Leatherface, or what?
I
don't know any other band I've ever heard where their mixes like this.
Leatherface has a very unique sound. There isn't another band that sounds like this band at all in general, or will ever sound like this band.
I mean, I don't necessarily agree with that. I think there's bands that have different mixes, but their music sounds a lot alike. Like I would venture to say that Hot Water Music sounds a lot like Leatherface. Their production is just different.
I think what I mean by that is that like they have a very sonic quality about them. Like they focus on the guitars a lot. They're driving. Right. So the guitars drive a lot of the music. Even on Mush, it's just like they love that wall of sound shit. So I think Frankie did that on purpose because he loves Husker Du. Husker Du is another band that the vocals are really fucking buried in the mix a lot, and it's kind of that wall of sound.
Sometimes they are. I think Leatherfaces are far more muted. It sounds like he's singing through a plastic bag or something, man.
On this record, okay, so check it out. Horsebox is a unique record because the production on this album is either loved or hated. People hate.
I used to hate it, but I love it now.
Right, exactly, because it's very sonically fucking interesting. It's so heavy on the guitars, and it's got this kind of wall of sound going on with it. It's just like so much gain and distortion on the guitars, and behind him you can hear Frankie going kind of like saying what he's saying, you know, singing, you know. But the vocals almost come second to like the vocals are almost like a guitar, like a third guitar or something. It's the real crux of this album and sonically is the guitar work and the way he's playing the drums and you know, it's just driving the entire album. It's really just a driving.
Yeah, I think we see it a little bit different, but I don't think you're wrong necessarily either. I used to hate the vocals on this because I thought it was by accident, or I thought they just didn't do a good job.
Yeah.
But, you know, obviously the older I get, the more I learn about it, the more I like it anyways. But yeah, man, I mean, the album is fantastic. The first couple of songs on it are so fucking good. It kind of irritates me, honestly, because I'm like, dude, it makes me want to spend more time with the album.
Yeah.
But Sour Grapes is like such a banger of an opening track. And dude, I'm looking at Spotify. It blows my mind that song only has 46,000 streams. That is crazy to me, dude. I feel like this album should have way more than that. I mean, also, Watching You Sleep is probably my favorite song on here outside of True Colors, but that's not really their song. So
Cyndi Lauper cover. Interesting.
Yeah, well, it's Bruce Springsteen wrote it.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, it's a Bruce Springsteen penned song. Like when I heard this the first time, I thought, man, this sure sounds like Bruce Springsteen. And then I was like, wait a minute, is that True Colors? I was like, son of a bitch, it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I you know what, dude? I will go ahead and credit Bruce Springsteen with my fandom of Leatherface, because when I first heard this, I didn't really care for it much until I heard the True Colors cover, and I was like, wait a minute. If they're covering True Colors, I need to hop back in here real quick and see what the deal is with this band. And I gave them another chance because of it. Now, like I said, I didn't like Cherry Knoll much at all, but I liked this album a little bit when I first heard it, but I didn't love it. And when I heard True Colors, I actually kept it. I was like, all right, because back then, I would buy, sell, trade CDs and stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And if I didn't like something, I didn't hold on to it. I traded it in so I get something else. But this
You did,
album stuck around for a while.
so you didn't like Cherry Knoll? Well, you still don't like Cherry Knoll?
I haven't heard it in a while. I need to re-listen to that one. I've got a copy on CD. I'll put it. I'll play it tomorrow. See it.
It's
I can't remember what I thought about it. I just remember not liking it much, and I don't remember why. I think I just had a problem with his vocals back then. But like, dude, my tastes have so obviously changed a lot in the last 15, 20 years. Like, I didn't know that my taste had changed this much. If you had told me I was going to listen to early Jawbreaker, I'd have been like, you're out of your fucking mind. I loved that album. Like, I really enjoyed it, dude. It was really, really good.
I'm glad you do. Yeah, it's one of my favorites too. This record, I don't know. It's just,
where does it rank? Where does it rank amongst your Leatherbox? I'm so tired, dude. Leatherface stuff. Where's Horsebox rank amongst Leatherface albums for you?
My
Leatherface.
My second favorite record to Mush.
Okay, awesome.
Mush is their best record. It just is.
Is it like thought of as their best record by other people, or is it just your favorite? Okay,
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like you need to listen to that album.
I'm excited to listen to that one tomorrow. Then
that one's gonna be, that one.
Leatherface is responsible for an awful lot of music I love. I think.
Yeah, they are.
Like I think that orgcore stuff is like a direct derivative of Leatherface.
Yeah,
at least all the stuff that I like, because all the stuff I like is post 2000, post 2005.
A lot of the fest bands, a lot of the
no idea
stuff.
No idea. I really like, and I think that might be why I ultimately went back and listened to Leatherface again, is because I started liking bands that were like a little crisper and cleaner. And it's like, okay, well, if you like that, you can get back to liking this. It's just like if you like Green Day's Dookie, you can ultimately get to where you're listening to the Broadways, the Lawrence Arms, and probably even Leatherface, honestly.
Yeah.
So like it's the same kind of thing. If you like the more polished version, just be a little patient and give it some more time. You'll get back to the grittier stuff. At least in my experiences, that's what music fans typically do. We'll go deeper and deeper and deeper into these genres, bands, sounds, albums, whatever, versus somebody that's a surface level listener.
Right.
And they'll typically just like what's available, which is okay too, man. I'm through judging people for shit like that. You like pop music on the radio? Dude, cool, man. I don't give a shit. As long as you're not being a terrible person, I don't care.
The thing with bands like this, though, is that there's such a cult kind of following because they're not as easily accessible as maybe some other music is. If you talk to someone like Rusty who comes to the channel, and anytime someone has like a yelly, like gravelly voice, he's like, I don't like this. And
every time, bro, I don't like the vocals. I'm like, chill, bro, let them live.
Right, but if someone's like, some bands are just more accessible than others, and I think Frankie's voice isn't the easiest point of entry for a lot of people.
No, it's not. I agree with that, dude. Dude, Rusty was cool, man. I hope that dude comes around.
I'm not talking shit on Rusty. I'm just saying.
No. It was just when you mentioned him, I was like, man, I had fun talking to him today, dude. And I like that he likes Rancid so much. But I'll be honest, dude, and this is no shit talking, but Rusty is not. There's different like rungs on the punk rock ladder, and I don't think he has any interest in climbing up to where you and I hang out. And I think I'm probably a little deeper. I'm probably on a separate ladder than you, even. Like we're not even on the same ladder. We're on the same height, probably different ladders, man. Like, so, some people like this stuff. Some people don't want to, don't care. They're like, oh, no, I like this part of punk right here. I don't need to go into I don't need to listen to Crass. And it's like, hey, then don't, And I hate to even admit this, but I listened to Crass the other day and didn't want to blow my brains out. It fucking shocked me.
You might like some of Crass's music.
Eventually. I like Rudimentary Peni. Are they related to Crass in any way?
I don't know what the details are about that relationship, but they're in the family, the camp. Yeah.
Okay, so then that's probably my entry point to that. I used to really hate Crass a long time ago. What are y'all doing to me, man? Y'all are making all these bands that I used to hate become bands that I'm like, oh, they're all right. I like them. And then all of a sudden I got fucking tapes and CDs and shit. Yeah, that's the whole point of exposing yourself to stuff. Dude, I'm so fortunate to even be in punk at this age. I'm figuring that out, dude. That I shouldn't even be here, man. Hey, I was stubborn enough to just stick around because I didn't like any of the right stuff. I didn't get showed any of it at a young enough age. Like I was talking to somebody and they were like, man, when I was 10 years old, it might have been you. Was I talking to you about that? Or so was it somebody on the chat? When they were young, they were listening to all this punk stuff and they were like 10. And I was like, how? how are you listening to stuff at 8 years old? How'd you find like never mind the Bollocks at 8 and 9 years old, and then understand that that was something that you were gonna love? Like I find that
Right.
really hard to believe, man. When I was 8 or 9, I just listened to what was around. I didn't know what
Right.
music. I knew I liked music, but I didn't know that there was different kinds and this and that. But I had such a weird journey to get here, man. I just feel grateful every day. It's kind of corny, but it's so true.
I mean, you
But
love it. It's you're a lifer. You're in now.
I do love it, man. I do love it. It's funny. I think that I think a sign of uh, I often get like this feeling like I don't belong, and I think that that's a good thing. Is was what I wanted to say. Like I think that it'll keep somebody like me humble because I don't get a big head about stuff, but I get so psyched on things and I talk about it, and I think that could come off as a certain way. Anyways, I don't know. I'm really fucking tired still, so I'm gonna get out of here, man.
No, don't worry
Um, I
about it.
I tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna look up at the next couple of days and find some more records for us to talk about, and I'll shoot you a text and tell you what we're gonna hear,
Yeah,
what we're gonna cover. Excuse me. But
anytime.
I'm gonna go try to recover. I need to get some real sleep tonight.
You do need some real sleep. Have you eaten yet?
Yes,
You got to eat some food too.
I ate something earlier before I got home, so I'm okay on food right now. I need like a real good 8 9 hours of sleep, which I haven't had in a while. So,
What
but
are you gonna What are you gonna watch?
thank you. I don't know yet, man. I'm gonna go do nothing. My eyelids, bro. I'm gonna go there and just. I'm not gonna even make it through the movie.
Just go to sleep. Just go to
Yeah,
fucking
dude. So thank you everybody for hanging out, man. This was a fun time talking about two really interesting albums, man. Two that are, I would say, pretty important, honestly. The 15 stuff was so heavy, dude. It put me in a funk, man. I
sleep.
understand the importance of that band, but it is not an everyday listen, bro. You've got to be able to be
It's hard.
ready. You got
It's
to be.
hard.
I think that that's one of those bands that when you're having a really bad day, could probably help you a lot. At
Yeah.
least I tend to be uplifted when I hear stuff from musicians that are like it's hard to hear. I imagine there's other people that don't want to hear that stuff. But for me, when I'm having a
Yeah.
terrible day and I want to hear about somebody else having a terrible day, then I can go, okay, we can join together and be like part of this together, man. So hell yeah, man.
That's
Nitty,
right.
thank you for your time, bro. We'll talk
Thank you.
soon.
All right,
All
guys.
right, bro. Later,
Have a good
guys.
night, everybody.
Peace.
Bye.